Hey guys, welcome to another podcast.
Hello.
So we had last week off. We didn't do a podcast last week. We were busy. I have no good excuse for it. We were just super busy.
Yeah, well, we were getting ready for SFA,
right,
and homecoming and all those things, so we just couldn't do it.
Couldn't make it happen. We tried.
Just can't make it happen.
So we also, in recent news, I'm sure that all of you know that we're not daily vlogging right now. Taking a step back from daily vlogging to concentrate on other video formats. Something more helpful for others is kind of the goal that we're aiming towards right now. Some kind of long-standing content more than just, hey, this is what we're doing today. We understand that like our daily stuff does also help people, but we wanted some broader range topics. We wanted to cover those.
Yep.
So that's what we got going on in our professional life. We've been working every day.
We have.
Every day. Of course, it's only been a day, or like 2 days.
2 days.
It's been 2 days.
But we did a Pots, Pans, and Priscilla video that just launched today.
Yeah.
So you can check that out if you want to get a dose. That's mainly a dose of me. But
right. Yeah. Well, there's a few seconds of the whole family at the end. So. But yeah, it's been good. I feel focused and like I have a direction that I want things to go in. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But today we wanted to talk about, well, children. That's one of the topics of our podcast, talking about our children and having a special needs child, having a typical child, the balance between the two, how we address that, giving time to each of them, right?
Right. And one of the things I talked about with Asa was that he came from a family with multiple kids. I grew up only child, so I don't really know that part of it. But I know that even with typical kids, I can imagine that parents try to make time for, alone one-on-one time with each child as much as possible. I'm sure it's hard. I know it's hard for us sometimes. Sometimes it just comes natural. Mm-hmm. There are natural things in our life, like Isaiah's football. That's just a thing.
And that's all Isaiah time because it's, Abigail, number one, doesn't enjoy going to football games.
Right.
Number two, she does draw attention to herself, and Priscilla and I want to sit there in the stands and watch our son play football. Right. We want to give him that time. Mm-hmm. I think it does happen. Unfortunately, there is an issue with, parents do spend an extended period of time with their special needs child because their needs are so high. Right. That there is just this disproportion of time spent with one child rather than the other.
And one of the things that I wanted to address was, because I know some people don't have the accommodations that we have access to with having caregivers and having respite workers. I know not everybody has access to that.
Right.
So one of the things that I would say to do would be one of you go and switch off. Mm-hmm. But you have to make that time for your child. And, if you're a mom and you don't really want to see them play football, then you don't have to. But you need to do something that you guys can form that bond with. Because...
excuse me, if you're a dad...
if you're a dad and you don't want to watch them play football.
Who went to the football game last night?
True.
Not Isaiah's football game, the JV football game. I was like, yeah, I'll go home.
Yeah.
You can stay and watch the JV football team.
So you just have to make sure that you are doing that, because you never want your typical child to resent your special needs child. And I think when I've heard older people talk, like adults who grew up in a special needs household, that is their number one complaint a lot of times, is that, yeah, they know their parents love them, but their parents weren't able, and they weren't able to give them the attention they wanted because their sibling required more attention. Obviously, Abigail requires more attention than Isaiah with certain things. Mm. Isaiah, we have to stay on him about his homework. That's attention. Whether it be in positive or a negative, it's still attention. But I don't always want it to be about schoolwork or doing your chores or whatever. You want to have fun with them too.
Well, so talking about my childhood growing up with two brothers, one of them, my middle brother has cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. And growing up with those two, and then I also grew up in that was at my mom's house. In my dad's house, I grew up with my sister. And with my stepmom and my dad. So, you know, we always had this good balance. My dad would go to baseball games with me and soccer games with my sister and stuff like that. But then going into a household where there's 3 siblings, 3 boys. My stepdad, he encouraged me to try out for the football team as the kicker. And it wasn't something that I really wanted to, like, it wasn't my idea per se.
Wasn't on your radar.
Wasn't at all. And he recommended that I do it. So I did it. And I don't know if it was intentional that he did this, but it definitely worked out this way. It created a method for him to have one-on-one time with me, because he would come out there, and they didn't have a kicking coach or anything, so he would come out there and help. And, you know, we got that one-on-one time. We spent a lot of time together, him and I. You know, my dad, my biological father, not my stepdad, he, you know, he got me into kayaking and canoeing and stuff like that. So it's, you know, don't be afraid to like push your kid into these things, to say, hey, why don't you try this or why don't you try that? Because a lot of times their interest is going to peak. You're going to find something that they really enjoy, and then you've just created that bond. You know, Isaiah and I struggle with finding common ground, with finding a bond on things. Like, as I've gotten older, like I used to play a little bit of video games when I was younger.
Yeah, just to play with him.
To play with him. Now I'm like, oh, I'd rather do so many other things.
But it's funny because he's not into video games either, really.
Right.
I mean, he hasn't played a video game in I don't know how
long. But we
long.
had a short period of time, Isaiah and I did, where we had this total disconnect, where we had nothing in common. So I got into videography, making YouTube videos. Shortly thereafter, he got into photography.
Yeah.
And those two overlap enough, like he's taking pictures of a sunset, I'm getting time-lapse of a sunset.
Right.
So we have found that common ground again, and kind of, you know, so I encouraged that with him. I'm like, hey, you want to get up at sunrise and go take photos? So, you know, that would be like, as far as tips and tricks for parents, for you guys, you know, make your kids do things, really. A lot of times you have to make your kids do stuff.
Yeah, and we do that with Abby and Isaiah. Yeah. I remember when Isaiah started football, he did not want to play football. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was like afraid that they were going to be mean, and he didn't want to get hit. And we just told him, we were like, try it. Just try it out. Because I wanted him to play a sport. He had tried baseball. He did baseball for years. Asa was a coach. I was team mom. Like, we did that for a long time. But then we realized that's not his thing. And that was fine. But I did want him to play a sport. And I just thought that it would be a good thing to keep him active. He was not into band or anything like that. So I'm like, you have to do something. You can't just exist. You know, I am a go-getter. Ace is a go-getter. Doesn't mean that I want my kids in every activity.
Yeah, we're busy people, so we try to influence that on our children.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think everybody does
once
that.
we push that on him, you know, and it's not like we forced him, like, but we did keep talking about it.
Well, we gave him the option. We're like, try.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah,
but try.
Try something else. So we gave him that option. He ended up loving it. We do the same thing with Abigail. You know, sometimes
he's been playing football for like 6 years now.
He's been playing football longer than that.
Yeah. Pop Warner.
Middle
school, high school. Yeah, he's been playing a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, he loves it. And, you know, it was so funny because once he stopped in middle school, he's like, yeah, I won't play in high school. And then he played in high school. And now he's like, I'm not going to play in college. Then he found out that he wouldn't get picked up for college, but he might be able to walk on to a team in college, depending on the
we've
size
learned
school.
Not to say, yeah, there's no way that you'll get, because he's not very big. He's not a very big guy.
Right. But he is
he's not really fast. He's not very big. He's not good at ball handling. He's, you know, but he is a hard, I mean, he plays hard.
He's really good at center.
Yeah. He realized that you don't have to be mean to play football.
Right.
So same thing with Abigail. Surfing, for example. Abigail would not get on the board when we first went surfing.
Even there's other things that we push her to do, you know, try new venues. And I know we've had in comments in the videos sometimes, like, why would you push her to do that when she doesn't want to do it? Because she doesn't know that she doesn't want it. She doesn't know she would like it. She doesn't give anything an opportunity.
Right.
So definitely push your kids to a reasonable, you know, obviously. Yeah. If she was completely melting down about something, we're not going to make her do it.
Right.
But there are circumstances where she's just being a teenager, or she's just being, you know, stubborn.
Like water slides even. I mean, if you guys have seen that video, if not, you should definitely watch that. Water slides, that, you know, she hated it. You know, she was real apprehensive doing it, nervous doing it. We could have just said, oh no, I'm not going to make her do it. But, you know, and she ended up hating it, and that's okay. We won't put her on another water slide. It's not her thing. She doesn't enjoy it. But so that's the other side of it. Like sometimes they love it, sometimes they hate it, and that's okay too. But so the whole point of this, guys, is getting them involved in something that you can connect with them on. I think that would be our best. Like, people have asked us, how do you fill in the blank? How do you get your child, how do you provide time to your non-autistic child, or even up the time between them? And that would be our best solution for you, is to create these type of situations where you have the opportunity to do it.
The other thing that I would suggest is what we did when Isaiah was younger and he wasn't involved in stuff like that, was after Abby went to bed, we always had game night. Because again, Abby wasn't interested in that. She was much younger than Isaiah. And so it was appropriate to have those times with him. So we would play we would do games. Monopoly. We are a Monopoly family. We need to do that now.
Yeah. And we never let him win.
Yeah. Make time for them after that sibling. Because if you don't have the option of having respite, because we didn't have that option then, make the time after they go to bed. Say, okay, everybody's gonna have game night tonight, or watch a movie. I like game night because it's more interactive. I'm not a movie person. You turn a movie on, I'm asleep. But as far as game night, like I think that's a fun trick. Also, maybe you just want them to have alone time, not necessarily with you or your husband, your spouse. But Isaiah goes to his grandparents every summer. That is his time to be himself, to get his breathe without having to help with a sibling, or, doesn't have to, I don't know, just has that time away.
Yeah, that total, where all the focus is on him.
Right.
And that's not necessarily like spoiling. My dad is not a spoiler. He doesn't spoil grandkids, but the focus is all on Isaiah, or Isaiah's relationship with his grandparents, so that's definitely important.
We are blessed to have 4 sets of parents between the 2 of us. Obviously, I'm sure they don't always feel that we're so blessed, because that means they're divorced. Not the greatest scenario.
Well, and the logistics of it all.
Yeah.
Who's coming for what holiday and what?
Right.
That's.
But we are so blessed to have 4 sets of parents who are all amazing. They all bring different gifts and different, just what we need in our life. We know what each parent can give us at that moment in our lives. We call a specific parent.
Not like physical gifts, like actual,
like, hey, I need you to listen to me and not give me advice, just hear me out.
Right.
Like, there's a parent for that. There's someone who's gonna fix everything for you.
Yep.
There's, so we have that. Well, Isaiah has that as well. And he knows, like, he's known from the get-go who he can call for different things.
To borrow $10, he knows who to call.
He's calling my mom. But I just think that that's important. Have your kids have relationships with their grandparents. My parents, my mom and stepdad. If
that's not an option.
Yeah, aunts, uncles,
friends. You have
whoever it is.
You have a friend in your life that's like uncle so and so. He's not blood uncle, but those type of people. Work on that relationship. Get them to take your son or your daughter and go do something with them. I mean, that's, I think that you're right. That is important to have that separation as well.
Yeah. Because I know my mom lives here in town. My mom and stepdad live here in town, and they will pick him up and take him to the movies, take him out to dinner, that kind of stuff. Obviously, he goes and travels with the other grandparents. So, I think that's just so important. And I think it's important, just like Asa and I need that downtime, Isaiah needs that downtime.
Yeah.
To not be a caregiver at 16.
So you can't be, I can't be a husband, just a husband, when my kids are around.
Right.
I have to be a husband and a dad. So Priscilla doesn't get that. She doesn't get husband Asa, she gets dad Asa, right? So it's a different dynamic to your relationship. If you have multiple children, you've probably noticed that when you are with your kid by yourself, you are different. You have a different dynamic to your relationship than when you are with your kid with your spouse. It's important that Priscilla and I have our individual time with the children without each other, because you have a different role depending on who's in the room with you. So that's something to take note on. it's not just Priscilla and I hanging out with Isaiah without Abby, but it's also us individually hanging out with Isaiah. You know, so that would be the next tip I would say is make sure you are splitting that as well.
Right.
You know, and so if you don't have caregivers, like Priscilla said, you can individually go off and you end up having more fun, I'm telling you.
Isaiah and I are car karaoke when we're together.
And Isaiah and I have more fun when you're not there too. I mean, that's just fact,
we go
right?
get treats that Dad doesn't really care about. You know, we just have a good time. Like, we went to the Florida game together. You would not have enjoyed that.
Right.
He and I loved it.
Isaiah and I talk, you know, we solve the world's problems. We're both deep thinkers. We solve the world's problems when Priscilla's not there, and we have these long conversations.
I'm like, you guys think about that? Why would you worry your brain with that?
Okay, so our final tip on this one. Okay, so this is like number 4 or something like that. Our final tip on this one is this is the best way to integrate, to make sure that no one feels left out. I feel like this is the most important way, is to have everyone all at once go do things together.
Yeah.
When we are out, all 4 of us, we are one family unit. Isaiah's not started up again. Okay. So like I was saying, with the little pause there, when we're all 4 out, you know, we're not, 2 of us aren't actively engaged with Abigail, and Isaiah is just along for the ride, or vice versa. We're not ignoring Abby and just, you know, holding on to her backpack handle so she doesn't run away and only spending time with Isaiah. It is definitely, you know, there at any point there may be 3 caregivers there. You know, we may all be acting in that aspect. We may, Isaiah and I may be walking next to each other, taking pictures of things, talking about things, and you're walking with Abby. I mean, it's this constant changing, you know,
a lot of it depends on how Abby's doing that day. I mean, she kind of, you know, she sets the pace.
Unfortunately, there's that. She governs.
But Isaiah, I don't think that he's ever felt like, and I feel like he's a pretty outspoken kid. And I feel like he would tell us, but we've never had to leave a venue. And
if not, his behavior would probably tell it.
Right.
Too.
We've never had to leave a venue because his sister was doing something. Like, I think that's, like, we've tried to push it as far as we can go. Deal with whatever we need to deal with, whether it be one of us leave a restaurant. We have left a restaurant and got our food to go because she was having a hard time.
Yeah.
But like a fun event, like going to Disney. We've never left Disney because Abby was having a hard time.
Right.
It might be a moment, it might be a hard moment, but we've worked through it, because it wouldn't be fair to Isaiah, or any of us for that matter, to leave a venue unless she couldn't really get it together.
Right. And so by putting these things into play, by practicing these things that we've talked about, what we've created in Isaiah, just, you know, the whole nurture versus nature thing. Obviously, by nature, Isaiah's a great kid. He's just a great kid, you know, top to bottom. We are blessed. We know that, you know, we couldn't ask for a better kid. But there's also the nurture side of it, right? You are how you are molded in a lot of ways. And what this has done for Isaiah, and I'm not saying we're professional parents, a lot of this is just by dumb luck.
Right.
That we ended up the way
this is just advice that we're offering up that's worked for us.
Exactly. Yeah, this is not, you know,
we're not experts.
We didn't read Dr. Spock's book or anything like that. So, you know, Isaiah has become the way that he is because of these methods. So like when we did leave that restaurant, he felt bad, you know, and he didn't feel slighted. He didn't feel like he got, you know, cheated out of anything.
No.
When we've had, you know, when we've been at Disney and Abigail's had it for the day, but we want to get in the last few rides, you know, and stuff like that. So one of us would sit down at the bottom of the ride and wait. You know, Isaiah would be like, sorry you had to miss the ride. Like, that's okay, bud. It's no big deal.
And
but
he's
the
very
fact
appreciative.
The fact that he would come to us and say, sorry you had to miss that ride. You know, he doesn't feel, he understands and he has a good grasp on it and he's well balanced. And I think that's because of all of these things that we have implemented throughout the years.
Yeah, I agree. He's a good kid.
Yeah. So those are our tips. You guys have asked us so many times on how we balance. And
I just don't want you to think that you can't implement these things because you don't have respite or you don't have a caregiver. You don't have a grandma or a grandpa around to help you. Like, there are other ways, because we didn't always have this, what we have
No
now.
doubt, there are different challenges and there are different scenarios that you're going to have to face because of those aspects of it, but there are ways to do it. And I think, I tell you what, if we didn't cover all of them, let me know, and we can see if we can help you out in your specific situation.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't pull up questions this time, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'll go back through and we'll take the questions from that we got last week and we'll use it on the next one.
Okay.
I have to pull them up ahead of time before we start doing all this, so I apologize. I just forgot. I'm rusty. This is only like our 4th podcast. So, okay. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. You guys on the YouTubes, I appreciate you looking at our faces for the last 20 minutes or so, and everybody over on the Anchor app. If you don't have the Anchor app, this is available on Apple Podcasts now. I just got the email for that.
Awesome.
It's been weeks and weeks, but they just said that we were cool enough for Apple. So yeah, but you can watch us. There's a number of other or listen to us.
Is there an Android?
There is, yeah.
They have their own.
Oh yeah, that was
approved.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Android is they're on top things. So yes, Google Podcast.
Apple has like a red star next to your name. That's why it took them so long.
Oh, okay.
They were like, we'll let him in for his wife will grandfather him in because he's married to her and she loves us.
Oh, right. Okay, guys, that's it for us. If you can check us out on your favorite podcast app, most of them have them, but not all of them. You can download the Anchor app. The Anchor app is where you can leave us the voice messages that we may or may not check. I'm joking. We checked them. I just forgot to this time. But yeah, you can leave us a voice message, and then we can play your voice message back and respond to it during the next podcast.
There you go.
Exciting. Okay, be looking for some videos to come out real soon from us. I'm working on a couple right now, and then like Priscilla said, over on Pots, Pans, and Priscilla, she just dropped one today, and she's gonna have some more coming up too.
Yep.
So,
thank you guys so much.
See you guys.
Bye.